But why are you never satisfied with your life, no matter what you do? By day in, day out, you think that there is something missing, that you need to do something, you need to go somewhere. And that is only when you achieve happiness. Or even if you're happy right now, there's something, always that one thing that feels like it's, it's missing. And when someone asks you, what is it that you think is missing, you're like, can't really pinpoint, but there feels like there's something missing in this scenario. What exactly is that feeling? Hello guys, this is Surbi, and if you've been following my channel, I'm trying to change some things around. I've just come from my office, and after a long time, I've had time up after coming from office. Usually I have work to do still, which I'm not getting paid enough for. But why is your imagination making your life miserable? Why is imagination making you actually not live your life, but instead live a borrowed life per se? Some people thrive on daydreaming, they thrive on story making. I would know all about it. I also try to write. I'm writing a novel right now, so I thrive on living experiences through my characters. So when did I start realizing that there exists a problem? Is when I would compare to things like, if you have relationship in your head with any of the relationship that exists in the real life, like, just take for an example the relationship of a father and a daughter. If you have in your mind what that should be like, and then there's the actual reality of what actually your relationship is like with your father, and then suddenly this feeling of unhappiness starts coming in, like there's something missing, like everything is right here, you're enjoying, it's a nice party, and you're there with your family and everything is going really good, and suddenly you feel like there's something missing. And if you believe that the feeling comes to you because there's something really, really fundamentally wrong with you, like it's in your innermost self that is wrong with you, like you're broken, and that's why you're feeling that, I mean, I hate to break it to you, it's not. It's not that you're fundamentally broken or you can't be happy, and that's why you're feeling that. It's mostly like 99% because of your imagination of what that thing should have been like. So I was writing a poem about it way before I got to actually psychologically understand what it was, and then spiritually realize what it was. But at that time, I was just going through it. And I wrote this poem about that little thinker that's in our heart, that aches with the beats of your heart and throbs are its ink. I would try to link it in the end of the video, like I will try to read the poem out. I felt like that poem really helped me out to understand what the actual problem was. Because at that time, like, I was same age, but it was 6 to 7 months ago, where I was just in this space of having done what I wanted to do, you know, and then still being not satisfied with what happened, with how things turned out. And then this annoying thing kept on tugging at my head, like tugging in my brain, like this annoyance, like, I did what I wanted to do. Why am I still not happy? What is this thing that is miserable, that feels inconsistent, that feels like still missing? Maybe I'm just fundamentally broken. Maybe there's nothing that can make me happy. The problem with having imagination is that you tend to imagine every scenario, mostly, that will play out. And when it doesn't play out like that, it gives you unsatisfaction or inconsistencies, disillusionment. Like, if you imagine what your trip to a certain place will be like, just for an example, and then that doesn't play out that way, instead of living in the reality, instead of experiencing every time, you're just comparing, oh, it's not like this, oh, I didn't think it would happen like that, oh my god, what the fuck, like complaining always. And that's how it will be. And if you don't think it's a problem and you don't think it's an issue, well, then that's okay too. you will understand not very soon, but sometime or the other, that there lies an issue with daydreaming more than you realize. But it doesn't mean that the realization alone will help you outrun that, but you will be well set on the track to try to outrun it. Now, how do we stop overthinking, right? How do we stop imagining things? For me, it worked like whenever I'd catch myself imagining a real life scenario, I would try to discipline myself into not doing that. And by not forcing myself to, no, you can't, but saying that I love myself so much that I don't want to allow myself the heartbreak of something not going according to what I thought it would go. So it didn't come out of anger or trying to discipline myself harshly, but out of the love that I started to find for myself. And I was like, this love is so enough for me that I would not want to allow myself the heartbreak. I could not see myself be heartbroken because the real thing could not live up to my expectations. So I stopped, basically, meta version of it, no expectations about something, right? We go back to the spiritual aspects of mostly everything. But when I talk about it, I suddenly realize that it comes down to not having expectations. The more you imagine, the more expectations you will create. The more expectations you will create, the more possibility that your expectations will not be met. Or even if they will be met, not exactly like what you thought. And then there will always will be this feeling that something is missing. Something is quite not right. I mean, I don't know what to name that feeling, but if you've felt it, you know it, what I'm talking about. And yeah, I understand imagination helps you grow, helps you make new things, helps you make discoveries. Like when a human must have imagined that, oh, what is in the space, and then they would have wanted to explore it, right? But when there's a reality of it that you can't explore, like this is your mother, and this relationship is your reality. That's it. How it should have been, like, because I've seen a lot, like, I mean, I'm not defending abusive behavior, but I've seen situations where a mother was very abusive to the child, and later they grow up, and they still continue to stay in contact with the mother, have the same love that they had for their mother, but they'll still be in touch with their mother because it's their mother, you know. And I'm not glorifying that. I'm not saying that you should do that, but I'm just saying that when you accept that this is your reality, you stop running away from it. Hello, this is the editing me. By that, I didn't mean that you should not do anything about it even after you've realized that this is my reality. But the reason that you realize that this is your reality and you stop dreaming about it is so that you can actually take actions of whether you want to cut them out of your life or you want to do something about it. Because if you're like, this is not my reality, this is not my mother, I don't want this mother, mothers are very good and this and that, and you will always sit ruminating over the problems. Ruminating is just thinking back and realizing how fucked up the situation is or how good the situation is, rather than actually living in the reality of that thing has actually ended, or you have to end that thing. If she would have been like, I've seen other mother-daughter relationships, they are like this and that, and yada yada yada, and this is not my mother. I'm so unhappy. My mother is not satisfactory anymore. And then they would have gone off to not have a mother anymore, because then in their head they'd be like, I don't want a mother anymore. And that's okay too, but it just depends on the way you want to live your life, right? And that's the way imagination kills you. And I took a very serious example, but I think you get to understand what I'm trying to say. Time to listen to the poem if you're interested, but if you're not, you can click off from here. Namaste. Sometimes I feel like I'm far behind, almost on everything. Maybe I didn't choose my right career yet. Maybe it is too late to resume the painting that I have left. The love that should have come years ago but never did. I'm still nowhere to say it to people that I have mastered something. It's because of all those stories that I tell myself when I go to bed. You need to grow old with a man you loved in your early 20s. By the time you're 30, you should be teaching kids about colors and poems, all the stories of a future that the me in my mind has already lived. There's an inconsistency with the you in your delusion and the you in body. She is almost like a different being. It's fascinating how, in stories, each version of me is unscathed of the past. She lives a life of her own, branching from the tree of my consciousness. Yet, I know it won't be me, because heart's peculiar like that. Not all stories that you tell yourself when you drift to sleep are meant to be lived. Misery is inflicted upon us by the little storyteller in the bottom of our heart. He aches with the beats of the heart, and throbs are his ink. One must shush the little thinker to ever be happy, to ever be satisfied.